Good morning. It is 10:27, Sunday, March 30th. Time for an update. Well, I will try and keep this short and succinct so that it's not another 45-minute speaking directly to camera kind of video. Lots of things have been going down here. So the last few weeks have been borderline existential because, as I had understood it, my time here was up on the 31st of March, and I would have to be out of here by noon, like fully hooked up and driving out of the gate by noon on the 31st. And I had nowhere to be. I could not interface with my friends from where I had stayed before I got here for 2 weeks. We tried to interface and try to get things to work out, but it just wasn't really going to happen. But I do thank them very much for the first 2 weeks, and I have, no grudges or salt against them at all. I get it. It's not as easy as just like, yeah, hey, come on over, especially if you don't actually physically own the home. It's your parents' house, whatever. So I had nowhere to be, and I was really, really, really freaking out. It's not to say that I physically, literally couldn't sleep in my truck in a parking lot somewhere with my camper hooked up to it, for a night, and then have to move somewhere else and stay a night in some parking lot. Like Walmart will allow that, depending. But I really, really didn't want to, because I have a cat and a dog, and it's like a truck isn't really meant for sleeping in. Like, I wouldn't even know where to begin. So it was getting pretty hairy, for sure. Part of the reason for this is because, I had the house money, but I had fully expected to have found employment well before now, because I have a skill that should be marketable, that should be wanted and needed, especially in the day of the internet, where so many people are making videos and doing Photoshop edits and stuff. It's like, well, I can do that. Yeah, so I had expected to have found employment by now, because I do have skills and I could be making money off of those skills. And yet, I don't know if it's to blame AI or my resume is just that terrible. I don't know. It's possible. So apparently my skills aren't marketable enough to actually get me a job in the career that I have chosen. I did end up getting linked by a friend to Babbel AI voice training. I may have mentioned this in the last update video a couple of days ago. I'm not sure. I don't remember. I'm still working for Babbel for chump change, effectively. It's $17 an hour, but I'm only allowed 1 hour a day. If I did mention this in the last update, I probably mentioned that I had originally gotten 3 days, 45 minutes, 15 minutes a call, and then I got docked a day because I got a bad review. Well, now I'm up to 4, so I was able to kind of better myself, better my results, get a better review, which opened me up to 4 days. So I can officially now do an hour of this voice training for $17.50. Wow, geez, thanks. That's awesome. But hey, whatever. It's an income. So okay, so I got that running for me. That's good. But it sure as hell isn't going to be enough to get me, rent at another campground, which can be as much as a mortgage payment, like $1,300, $1,400, depending. Which is just outrageous. But everything is outrageous because everything is so overpriced and gougy that the mom and pop places, like these campgrounds, even if they might be corporate owned, but generally speaking, these are mom and pop kind of organizations. They have no choice but to gouge their renters because they have overhead too, and they need food on their table. So it's just this never-ending shit show of who can take the most money from you for the least amount of effort or whatever. Anywho, so the income from Babbel AI voice training is just not going to be enough to help me stay afloat in this thing. I mean, never mind rental fees for campgrounds, but just the fuel for my truck, food, propane costs, although we're getting out of the winter, so it'll be less likely that'll be a problem for the next few months going forward. But yeah, so that just wasn't going to cut it. And we are now, again, today's the 30th, so tomorrow would have been the day that I thought that I was today I wouldn't have been doing this. I would have been running around the camper, buttoning everything up, taking everything that could come off the walls, take them down, find a place to stuff them, make sure that there's nothing that would be rolling around in here as I'm traveling, and then hooking up basically by the end of tonight. So anyway, not great. Like, as of up until 4 days ago, I literally thought that's what was going to have to happen, and I had nowhere to be. I have no family with any kind of like house on land where I would be able to go to, not in the area anyway, or that I know of at all. Same thing with friends. I reached out to a couple of other friends, but they have inspections coming up that they can't have RVs on their property. Like, why does it matter? It's like, it just doesn't. I really can't wrap my head around it. But anyway, so that was a no-go. And yeah, it was legit looking like I was gonna, I don't know, I have no idea. I literally have no idea what I would have had to do, but I just would have had to go and do it, I guess. But this ends in a good way. So 2 things happened that were excellent and extraordinary, and I wasn't expecting. A different friend of mine, a person, more of an acquaintance on Facebook who I really haven't interfaced with very directly, sent me a direct message with a link to a work to stay campground on the Cape, Cape Cod, Massachusetts. And I thought, well, this is an ideal situation. Not only do I need work and to get an actual steady income going here, but I also need a place to stay. So a work to stay campground sounds perfect. Their seasons were just starting to open up, are just starting to open up in April. And so the timing was ideal. So I sent an email over to the contact that I got from that link, and it was the owner of the corporation. So this is a corporate-owned campground. They own 3 campgrounds that I'm aware of. One on the Cape, somewhere else, and then one in New Hampshire. So unfortunately, the Cape campgrounds they were all set. They'd had the people applied, and they were covered for their workers for the season. But New Hampshire was a different story. They needed someone for front desk, they needed someone for general maintenance, and they needed someone for the general store. So I sent in an application to that location. I ended up being connected to their general manager there, Scott, and great guy, really nice person to talk to. Seems really easygoing, and was all about having me come aboard. He seemed pretty excited to get me in, so we went through our interview, and then the next morning we did like a video call, just to kind of see each other face to face and finish off the details. I filled out their offer letter, and I'm just now waiting on a background check, which can take up to a week. Hopefully no longer than a week, but that's awesome. So I effectively got the job. I just now have to wait until the background check clears before I can go and actually park on the campground property. So that's fine. But that left me with this gap of days where I was very much uncertain, because again, I'm thinking I have to be out of here by the 31st. And my start date for the new campground in New Hampshire isn't until the 7th. So I'm gonna have a week where I don't know where I'm gonna be. So again, could I potentially, if I had to, hook up, drive to the nearest Walmart, which is really just down the street, ask if I can use their parking lot for the night, sleep in my truck, because without power hookup, I can't get into my bedroom. This slide that I'm sitting in slides this way and blocks off completely to the bedroom. So I would literally have to sleep in my truck with my cat and my dog. Not ideal. But that's, I guess, part of this new adventure, right? I don't really have control over the things I thought I did or could, so you got to go with the flow. Well, that day, after I had spoken with Scott and had our video call, I decided that the only thing that made sense, and not even financially, because I don't have any goddamn money, but the only thing that made sense was to try and just stay where I was for the next week. If, past the 31st brings me up to the 8th. And so I would at least be covered, right? So I walk up to the main office, and I asked the girl who's at the computer, and I was like, I'd just like to check on the status of my reservation. I think I'm getting close to the end of it, but I just wanted to know. And then my assumption was she was going to say, okay, yeah, you're good until the 31st. And then my next question was going to be, well, how much would it be to get 1 extra week in this spot? But she checked my reservation, and I don't know if this is like a standard procedure for campgrounds, but instead of having your pay period be from the first of the month to the last of the month, it seems like the pay period is from the middle of the month to the middle of the month, 15th to 15th. So I'm covered until the 15th. Holy crap. I am comfortable and I am set here until I can leave probably on the 6th or 7th. I'm waiting for my background check. Once that comes through, I can bounce. I can pack up kind of at leisure. It's not going to be a scramble. And I have a destination to go to. It's probably a 2, maybe 3 hour drive, probably a 2 hour drive. I think I'm going to have to end up cutting through like Boston, but I'm going to try and go around it as much as possible. But yeah, so holy crap, most excellent. Yeah, I can't be any more pleased with how this has worked out for sure. So yeah, in about a week's time, I will be over at the Tuxbury Pond Campground in Southampton, New Hampshire, right over the border of Massachusetts and New Hampshire. I'm really excited for the opportunity. It looks like I will be running the front desk and working in tandem with someone else, and so we might be able to like switch off. So I'll be front desk and also working at the general store as like the clerk. That will be 5 days a week, 2 days off, 5 days on. It won't necessarily be Monday through Friday. It could end up being that way, but there's no guarantee. Obviously, working weekends is kind of a must. So it could end up that I work from like Thursday to Wednesday or something like that. It's $15.45 an hour, which is excellent. Now, most campgrounds that have, well, I can't say most because I don't know, but I've heard that many campgrounds that do the work to stay kind of program won't charge you for rent because like they're paying you. But for whatever reason, the way this campground is run, even if you are working there, you do have to pay them $200 a month. But that includes water and power. That's all included. And again, comparatively speaking, when a campground like the one I'm staying at now, which is nice, but it's not like the coolest or best or whatever, but it's $1,300 a month plus because they don't include electricity. So the meter gets read and then you owe that too. So that's a mortgage payment. That's insane. Like, I don't live in a house for a reason. So why am I still monthly having to worry about a mortgage level payment? What the f? So comparatively speaking, $200 a month is like effectively free. In this crazy world of end stage capitalism, $200 is effectively like nothing to worry about in a weird way. So yeah, so I do have to pay them $200 a month to stay there, but I am getting then paid $15.45 an hour, full-time payment. So, I mean, it is what it is, you know, I'll take it. I have no complaints about it. Hopefully I will be able to then save up enough so that by the end of the season in October, I think it's October 15th, I will be able to have enough money to bring myself over to the West Coast somewhere, Southwest somewhere, where I can then find another work to stay agreement with another campground. With this as my, background and experience, I should have no problem getting in anywhere. And that might be kind of what my path is for the next couple of years until I can figure out a more stable way to make money doing what I'd rather be doing. So, stay in the Northeast during the summertime and work to camp in New Hampshire. If I can get good in here, I think this might be a place that I can continue to come back to. And then for the winter periods, go over to the West Coast and kind of avoid the deep freeze and work a few months at that campground and then, come back. So that's kind of my plan. I mean, we'll see how well that works out. This is one that has been rattling around in my head for years. So to finally be able to have this done and finished and dropped as of 2 days ago, I'm pretty happy about it. I'm not sure how well this is going to translate, but I will show pictures. I've already shown pictures. You've seen this pin. But this is the Aesop Rock pin. Count Your Rings is finally here. I did have my drop on Friday night. It is now Sunday, so 2 days ago. And as of right now, I've got 15... maybe 17 packages ready to go. So that's awesome. I made a sturdy few $100 off of that drop, and that was a few hundred more than I had. So I think starting this week, I was at like $200, floating around 300, and getting the drop money in, I'm like just under 1,000. So like, hell yeah. Now that's also payment for Mike for me doing his TikToks. That's $100 a week, so that helps. So a lot of that stuff, really came through at the right time for me here. So like, as existential as it was coming into this week, leaving it, I'm feeling like 1,000 times better. A ton of weight has been lifted off my shoulders. I'm feeling generally a lot less stressed out. There's obviously the constant, we don't know what is going to be next kind of stress, but that's just life. That's not enough to derail me too hard. So, yeah, other than that, today because I have a little bit of money, I'm out of food stamps until the 13th. So that's another 14 days, another 2 weeks that I don't have any food money. So I've been trying to keep it as simple as possible. Today I do have to go to the store to get water, and I could probably use a couple of small snacks or whatever, but I can't spend a whole lot of money on it because I don't have a whole lot of money to spend, right? So yeah, so other than that, I have a couple of errands to run today. I don't really plan on taking you along with me. This was just the update that I wanted to give. Things are looking up, so that's excellent. I had a good pin drop, and I have a place to go in a couple weeks or in a week. And I have a job. I actually have a job for the first time since 2017. I will actually officially be legally working for somebody else. I guess part of me thinks it's about time. It gives me a sense of purpose. It gives me, I have to get up out of bed and I have to go do this thing. And then when I get home, I can justifiably just chill out and do nothing. And, it will take some of my energy away from focusing on my art and in my production. And I don't love that, but it also gives me money to be able to do art production. So I don't know, it's going to be complicated, but it is what it is. So I think that's going to cover it today for the update. I appreciate anyone who's coming through and staying up to date with me. And yeah, I'll see you in the next one. Peace.